Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you once again for putting us on your screens with the live wire here on Inside UNC Charlotte. Our topic today is one of the key elements of our preparation for football here at UNC Charlotte. We're going to be talking about parking and traffic on game days. And you might ask yourself, well, why are we doing this now? It's still springtime and football's coming in the fall. Well, actually, football's coming in just a few short weeks with what will be the first of an annual tradition, the spring game, a scrimmage that, if you're familiar with college football, you know that that's what teams do. They have a big game in the spring where the team divides up and plays amongst itself and invites a crowd to come and watch. And it's going to be an exciting day on April 20th, and another important aspect of that day is that the university will be operating as if it's a full-fledged football game day. And so now's the time to start talking about the details that will affect us as the university community, because it's something that we haven't experienced before, obviously, and there are a lot of details that we need to pay attention to, and as we all know, details matter. So joining us for this session of the Live Wire are Keith Wassum. Keith is the Associate Vice Chancellor for Business Services, and Gary Caton, who's the Director of Parking and Transportation Services. Guys, thanks for being with us.
I'm glad to be here.
And,
thank you.
We want to encourage you who are watching us to let us know your questions at any point. We're going to walk through the guidelines, and we're going to take a look at an aerial map and really try to, through the resources of Google Earth, bring this down to earth for us and get a better understanding of what we're talking about, what the impact's going to be on campus. But if you have any questions related specifically to football, traffic, and parking today, that's our general topic. Send them in to us by email or by Twitter. And guys, maybe to get warmed up, let me just throw out a question to both of you. How long have we been planning the various aspects? This is aside from athletics, and we're going to talk more with them as we go along, because they have obviously a great program lined up for Division I football at UNC Charlotte. There's an awful lot more that goes into it to get the campus ready. How long have we been planning this?
It's been at least 2 years. We started talking about all the logistical aspects, but in terms of parking, we've been talking about parking for 2 years, and we spent probably 6-8 months. Yeah. We spent enough time on it that at some point, Steve, and we said, hey, we need to get some help. And we kind of put together the skeleton of what we thought made sense for a plan. We said, well, wait a second. And so Gary and his team identified Game Day, who's a consultant, and they came in and spent the better part of a year, really, off and on, helping us to refine and develop a very, very specific event parking plan for the stadium. And we think it's one that will serve us not only for the stadium, for any events there, but we'll probably eventually use it in other locations.
We have major athletics, successful athletics in a number of other sports, obviously. We do big events on campus like concerts and commencement. From the traffic and parking standpoint, is this that different in terms of the things we're preparing for?
I believe it's larger than anything we've had. The football will bring a lot more traffic on campus than basketball or any of the larger events we've had. So we needed to be a little more prepared to deal with that traffic, not only on campus, but also in the surrounding community, to make sure that we're not disrupting our neighbors at the same time.
And I suppose in a few minutes when we look at the aerial view of campus to orient ourselves better to this discussion, the location of the football stadium comes into play too. And it's,
yeah, I think there are a couple differences. First of all, we have more seats in this venue than we have any place else on campus, 15,000. So we anticipate, because of that we'll have more vehicles that will be coming onto campus. The location will make it difficult because of where it's located, and so we want to deal with both the ingress and the egress for that location. And the third thing is tailgating. You know, we're excited about tailgating, but it basically means that people will come in earlier and they're going to leave later, and they're going to be in parking lots doing things more than just parking. So, you know, we had to take that into account. So I'd say those are like the three things that really make it a lot different than handling a concert in Halton Arena or a basketball game.
Part of what we want to get started today with this edition of the Livewire is a process of getting even more input from the people who are part of the university community, more in the direction of maybe some questions that our guests today haven't considered, although I'll bet there aren't any. You guys have probably covered every base, but you never know. But just to start to gauge what might really be on the minds of the people who are part of the university community and are curious, or maybe going to be surprised when we start talking about what is involved in game day, what you can do, and frankly what you can't do that you're used to doing. So.
Yeah, I think every time we've presented the parking plan, I don't know, 5-6 times at least to different groups on campus, and every time we do that, there is at least 1 or 2 questions that we haven't considered. So, we think we have a good plan, but hey, if you've got questions out there, let us know, because we don't have all the answers. We have a lot, but we don't have them all.
Send in your questions now if you have them, and as we go along for this next half hour or so by email or by Twitter. We're going to start by looking at the guidelines that come under game day parking information. We're going to talk through those right now in chunks, and then I'll tell you that later this afternoon on the Inside UNC Charlotte website, we'll post these. And then in about a week, we're going to be developing a special website related to game day information. And this will be a part of it. You mentioned tailgating. I think tailgating warrants probably its own discussion here on the Livewire of at least a half an hour to go into that. What are the policies? What's the alcohol policy? How does that work? And then we want to get you back to talk specifically at some point about concessions and what's on the menu, because I've seen that, and it's quite a bonanza.
It's quite a plan.
We won't tell Dr. Oz or anybody else. It's pretty impressive. A bunch of food we're going to have an option of eating. So, but let's take a look then at our first chunk of information from our game day parking information slide. Let's see. Here it comes. Let's just go through some of the details on that. The starting point that we want to be aware of is the fact that on game day, you're going to be closing the entrances to campus 5 hours prior to kickoff, except for the main entrance and the entrance off John Kirk. Now, in case anybody's not aware, the main entrance is that big thing out on 49 with the columns.
Right. With the columns on 49, and that will allow people that are coming to campus for non-event related purposes to enter the campus in that location, or the entrance off John Kirk, either one of them. And we'll talk more about the lots that will be available to them, but that is the one entrance that will be open. All the other entrances will be closed, and you will only gain entry if you have the correct event parking pass, and that'll become clear as we talk about, but you will need a pass. The parking plan itself is designed to bring people in through various entrances and thereby distribute the traffic that's coming onto campus to various points to get people on as quickly as possible.
Okay.
That 5 hours prior to game time, when we do close those entrances, people will be allowed in, but the football venues will still be closed. You'll be allowed into the general parking areas only.
And remind us again, game time is at this point going to be noon. Is that right?
I think it's 1 o'clock.
The April 20th game, I believe, is set for 1 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay, April 20th, our dry run.
Right.
Yeah.
So do the math, 5 hours we're talking about.
8 o'clock in the morning.
We're going to be underway and crack it on for most of us on a Saturday.
Right.
Yeah,
and I'm glad you mentioned dry run, because the April 20th game, although we don't anticipate that the stadium will be filled, we're going to treat it like it would be a sellout. So we will be doing our full parking plan, our full food service plan. We're going to simulate a game that day as we would expect it will be in August. So faculty and staff may be surprised when they hear that, hey, the entrance is going to be closed, but that's why we're doing this, so we can kind of work it out, see what kinks that we may experience, and make corrections before August.
Okay. We'll be posting these details on Inside UNC Charlotte, the website, later this afternoon. But one other item related to game day parking that we want to discuss is you will have to have a parking permit. FSL holders will have pre-printed parking permits.
That's correct.
Daily permits will be available online, and cash parking is allowed in the cone deck only.
Correct.
And game day entrances will be opened 4 hours prior to kickoff only to the designated permit holders. What are we talking about here? If I get a football ticket to the game, you're also going to send me something about parking, or how do I figure that out?
When you get a ticket, and we want to encourage people to get tickets in advance because it'll make it easier for you and for us. When you get a ticket, you'll be directed to get to a site which will allow you to get your parking, and you will be better suited to get that in advance. When you get that permit, it will actually give you directions. It'll tell you what entrance to come into and give you directions to your parking lot. If you're an FSL holder, as you said previously, you will already have that information. You will also be coming in at a specific location related to the lot that you have that's been designated for you to park in.
But wait a minute. I work at this university. If I get a ticket to go to the game, why can't I just come and park where I park every day?
Gary, you want to handle that one?
Basically, the preparations, the setup, and the game plan for the game day on football is extremely expensive. It's something that costs a lot of money. We have to bring in porta-johns. We have to bring in ash barrels for the people that are tailgating. We have to bring in trash receptacles. We have to have staff standing at all the parking lots to accept the permits as they come in. We have to have staff at all the entrances to make sure that people are only coming into the appropriate entrance for their permit. All that costs a lot more than it would for a normal sporting event.
Yeah. And I think what's really important is we want to make that a good experience for the people that are coming to the game, as well as the people who may be coming to campus for other reasons. And so the plan is designed to bring you in the location to get you onto campus as quickly and as safely as possible, and to get you to the lot. If we had people that were just starting to drive in on their own, coming into whatever, it would be very, very confusing, and we would have a lot of cross traffic, and that would be difficult for vehicles, but it'd also be difficult for pedestrians.
I suppose that we would be naturally inclined to think, well, I have a ticket for the football game, and I kind of know where the stadium is, so I'm going to drive to campus and head for the stadium.
Right.
And that would probably be a mistake.
It would definitely be a mistake. And in fact, as we'll show you shortly, there'll be a few roads that will be closed off entirely to vehicles. Phillips Road is one of those. So if you came in one side of the campus thinking you're going to get to the other side of campus, that won't happen. You'd get redirected off. So yeah, it's going to be better for everyone to use the plan, to kind of come in the entrance that you're being instructed. And if you try to get in an entrance, if you have a permit, and you try to get into an entrance that is not where you are to enter, you'll be instructed to move to the correct entrance. And we're going to try to work with all of our patrons, particularly the first couple games, to try to help them understand that, because that'll be difficult.
Will it be university police and public safety that's at those points
Yes.
giving us that advice, or instruction?
Gary,
will be?
it will be. Gary mentioned staff. We'll have about 30 to 35 staff that will attend parking, all the parking lots and deck areas. We have about 25 traffic control points, and those will be staffed primarily by our police department and with the help of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. So Jeff Baker, our police chief, will be coordinating all of that, but we'll have traffic control officers at every ingress point on campus. So, and we'll have signage, which will hopefully help. So it's all color coded, so that will also help. You'll see that in a second here, but so people hopefully will be looking for a color permit, and that will let us know, hey, you're at the right place, or you're at the wrong place, you need to move on to the next entrance.
Yeah, and the online ticket purchases for the single game day, when you purchase your permit, you'll print up a permit, and that permit will have all the directions you need to get to the lot that you have to go to. It'll tell you what entrance to come in, what roads to go down, how to get to your parking lot. And then when you enter that parking lot, we'll be taking that permit, because there is no re-entry.
Right.
Once you're in, you're in. And once you leave, you're out.
So just It's really important for us to read the stuff.
Yeah, it is.
It is very
This is,
important.
yes, for sure.
And just to kind of clarify, we're going to be also going out on a Friday afternoon, putting up signage, letting people know what's coming on Saturday.
Right.
Before the game, so you have an idea ahead of time what's being closed, when you have to be out of a parking lot, and so on, so that we can get prepared for the game day traffic on Saturday morning.
And I'll note once again, this is one of the first attempts at starting a campus-wide discussion of this, and there will be plenty of time to also have conversations about tailgating and the many other aspects here. And I don't know, from my own experience, I've been to college football games at major universities, and what you experience there is the appearance of a well-oiled machine, and they do things as they've been doing them for years, and you kind of don't think twice about being directed where to park, and yep, I'm going to pay a little extra to park there even if I happen to work there as well. It's just, I suspect though that here at UNC Charlotte, like so many other things, we're breaking ground, we're doing things for the first time, and it's going to take some getting used to. So
It will, and I do, we might talk about this further, but faculty and staff, people that have permits that are coming here on game day for other than event purposes, if you come in the main entrance, you'll get directed. There are locations for you to park if you have a permit, so that's not an issue. I just want to say that up front, that there are places for you to park if you're coming for other reasons, and so, but use the main entrance or use the John Kirk entrance, because it'll make it a lot easier, because you will not be able to use the other ones.
I know it's a little further down, but basically what's going to happen is the East Decks 2 and 3 are open for permitted parking, and East Deck 1, visitor deck, will be accepting visitor parking, but the gates will be down. It's not like a normal Saturday where you can just park anywhere.
Sure.
That they will be charging for visitor parking on game day.
And those details are going to be in the information that we will have posted on Inside UNC Charlotte this afternoon, inside.uncc.edu, which is probably the website where most of you watching are you're there right now. But keep that in mind. We'll have that there, and then in the coming week we're going to be developing a special website related to game day information, and we'll keep moving forward that way. But I think for the sake of moving forward now, let's switch over, if we can, and we'll take a look at an aerial view of campus. We'll get that pulled up in just a second. And let's see. If we can, we'll get that pulled up in is it up now?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Good.
So let's take a look at what we're looking through the courtesy, or what we're seeing through the courtesy of Google Earth, and maybe if you could start, Gary, also by reminding us exactly what we're looking at, because sometimes we look at this map and we're confused by what the main roads around campus are. What is this?
If you follow the happy hand, this is 29 Tryon going up and down. This is the stadium. It's CRI campus. This would be Harris Boulevard. This would be 49 or University City Boulevard. John Kirk comes up this way. And this is Mallard Creek Church. Mary Alexander is down here. So that's kind of the orientation. This is the campus core in here. The various parking decks we'll get to in a minute. But again, this is the stadium. The red lines you see, Keith had mentioned that we're going to have roads that are closed. That Phillips Road will be closed to all vehicular traffic. It will be a pedestrian route or service vehicles only. And service vehicles will also need to have a permit to get near the stadium.
I think they're seeing numbers up there, Stephen. Those numbers represent the approximate number of vehicles that we hope to bring in through the various entrances on campus.
Okay.
And as you can see, the idea is to spread it out as much as possible. So each one of those numbers represents, a number for that particular point of ingress.
Yeah, it's based on their permit.
And just as a reminder, as you're watching this, that you can send us your questions by email or by Twitter. And one question that we have now is, as we're looking at this map, why can't I just go park at Kohl's? Or why can't I try those parking lots on Tryon and 49?
I would not advise it, but I don't know what the business owners at those venues are going to do. They may already have plans for that. They know this game is coming.
Yeah, you'll talk to some people in the next couple of weeks. I mean, we've had dialogue with the people that own those facilities. I'm not sure if they've determined yet what they'll do in August, but those areas are generally pretty well used on weekends, so there wouldn't be a lot of parking to start out with there. So, plus there's also the issue of getting across the main Highway 29 in terms of egress. I mean, people are always welcome to park wherever and walk, but you know, we encourage you to look at the parking on campus. It'd be a lot safer. We have a plan for moving pedestrians to and from the stadium, so that's what we would encourage.
Yeah. And again, another question is how much time, what kind of a time proposition are we talking about if I'm coming and I'm parking in one of the likeliest places where I would park? How much time should I allow to get onto campus, get to my parking space, and either get to tailgating or get to the game?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. I think we're going to know more about that after April 20th. But
yeah.
you know, we think that you should plan at least 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. If you're not tailgating, at least 30 to 45 minutes ahead of time to be at your entrance point on campus, so you can get in to your parking lot, get parked, and then walk to the stadium. From any of the parking lots, it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes or 15 minutes really to park to the stadium. I know people look at it and they go, "Wow, I park pretty far away from the stadium." But if you do the numbers, no one's really going to be that far away. Now, if you choose to come and park as a faculty staff person with a permit in East Deck, you have a little bit further walk. But you know, leave time. We encourage people to come in tailgate, enjoy the tailgating, because when you do that, then you have plenty of time. And you can tailgate 4 hours before the start of the game, so you can come in after 9 o'clock and probably have a lot less traffic.
Okay, just want to clarify, there will not be any public transportation available on campus on game day. We're not providing any transportation to the stadium, and that's basically just because of the amount of traffic coming on campus and the infrastructure and our roads. I don't believe it would get you there any faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We'll talk later about accessible parking, but you know, we won't have the shuttle service, and that's not atypical. We think that the parking is going to be very convenient. We want to get you on quickly, get you parked, and then you can enjoy the game.
And I know you study and analyze parking year-round all the time. So typically, what kind of traffic and parking is there on campus on a Saturday anyway in the fall?
On a Saturday in the fall, the traffic is very low, very limited. So there's not a lot of traffic on campus. It's mostly resident students coming in and going, and commuter students are coming in to use a library or go to class or a lab. And it's very low. There are very few classes on a Saturday.
Right. One of the key points behind developing football is to continue to transform this campus into a 24/7 year-round place. And so this is our big test, because obviously the infrastructure's been developed to support that, and now we're just going to...
It is. I think we do need to recognize, however, that when you bring in 15,000 people onto campus, you know, in a shorter time frame, it begins to look like what it may look like in the morning, or you know, at 8 o'clock or at 5 o'clock when we have all the cars coming and going. If we had people just coming and going, we would have lots of traffic congestion. So I mean, the plan is set up so that doesn't occur. That's the idea. We'll obviously be testing it on April 20th, but we think it's about the best it can be at this point to see how that works.
And East Deck is the place if you're coming to campus and not going to the game.
That's
correct.
correct.
Correct, right down here,
Other
East Deck.
places too, or are we talking East Deck?
For April, it'll be East Deck 1 and 2.
Okay.
Right.
We get into the fall games, it'll be a little different, but we'll discuss that when we get there.
Yeah.
The concern I think we haven't talked about is egress. I mean, when people are coming in, they're coming in between 9 and 1 or 12 or whatever.
Or sooner.
Yeah, they're
on
all
how
they're all
tailgating
coming
takes
in.
off.
When the game's over, everybody wants to go at one time.
Yeah.
So it creates a little different traffic flow problem.
And
We're trying to direct people out the same way they came in. So if you came in a particular entrance, we're asking you to go out the same way so we can control the numbers of people going out into the main traffic. And the chief of police has devised a traffic plan, and I'll let him talk about that because I'm not an expert on it, but we're going to move the traffic off campus as quickly as we possibly can so the disruption only lasts a short period of time.
Yeah, I think, Gary, you made a very, very important point, is that we want to direct people out in the same manner that they came in. And I know sometimes, you know, people want to go certain directions, and they aren't going to want to go necessarily the way they're being directed. But for everyone, it will be a lot more efficient if we do that. Because if everyone doesn't do that, then we'll have cross traffic, and it'll be very, very congested. So that's a really good point.
Yeah, because the way the plan is set up, if they go out the same way they came in, we can move them quickly, we can get them out to where they need to be. They know how they came into campus, so they know how to go home.
Yeah, so even if you don't want to go out to John Kirk or Mallard Creek, or if that's whatever your method of egress is, if that's not what you desire, follow the plan, because when you get out there, you'll get out there a lot quicker, and everyone will get off campus a lot quicker.
And I suppose we expect that as people get in the flow of coming to games, whether they're FSL holders or not, they're probably going to end up having the same kind of ticket in the same parking area. So it's just going to become, well, I park over there because that's where I park.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of signage on campus directing people to exactly where they need to go. We're going to have the multiple message boards out on 29 and 49 telling people what lanes to get into and how to get into campus. The consultant did a good job of laying all that out for us, where we need to have these signs, what they need to say, how they need to be placed. So that will help people as they come onto campus if they're a little confused. They'll have those arrows directing them to their parking lot. Gold, go this way, green, go this way, along with the officers. But
we've had a number, I don't know the exact number of committees that have formed over the last, 2 years to plan for football, but a number of folks from across campus have been involved, and in just about each aspect there's been a certain amount of study, even consulting, even visiting some of the other schools that we kind of look to for either as models or direct guidance and advice. Where have we looked for parking and traffic?
Well, we've looked at not only schools that were visited, but other schools. But I must also say, and Gary can respond after this, is that every school's unique. And it depends on the location of the stadium and where your parking is, and so, every plan has to be a little bit different. But I know Nan and Gary's staff visited a number of locations.
Old Dominion, NC State, I believe we went to. I can't think of them all right off the top of my head, but there were several locations that were visited by athletics, parking, and different administrators, different committees to look at the way that they handled all of the venues, parking, food services, and the traffic control. We're using CMPD to help us because of our relationship with them. Other universities use state police or different law enforcement agencies to help them bring people in and out. I know we've talked with NCDOT and Charmec DOT as to how they want us to handle the outer roads and the signage, and they've even offered to change the traffic lights, time the traffic lights differently for the game so we can get people in and out. So it's been a cooperation not only with other colleges but with the community itself. Sure.
One of the particular advantages of having the game day group come in and help us is that they do this professionally. They do everything from the Dodger Stadium to smaller events. They've done the Olympics, and so they're really a lot more familiar than we are with the larger venues, and so they're bringing that experience to us from multiple venues across the nation, which has been really very, very, very helpful.
Well, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes at a university, and I know that for those of us who work here and have our specific jobs that we come to do each day, there's a lot we don't think about. But the fact that preparation for football has been underway for a couple of years with so many details, I mean, it's a remarkable task, really. And I suppose we want to go ahead and encourage people to come to that scrimmage on the game day on April 20th, because the bigger the turnout, the better sense you're going to have of what we're going to be working with in the fall.
Absolutely. That will well, first of all, we encourage you to come out to game and have a good time.
Sure.
If you don't already have an FSL, you might want to think about that. But certainly we will encourage you, if you just want to do a single day ticket, this would be a good opportunity to come out and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Just to, we got time to just give an idea where
Yeah.
the different lots are. And,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, it's been broken down by donor level through athletics. The gold level, if you look at the map, is this level coming in here. Comes in from 2 different directions and comes into the CRI entrance of campus, and it's the ellipse around the stadium.
Right.
So gold level, I will know I'm gold level if I've
Right.
purchased a certain kind of ticket, or if I've
If that's an FSL holder. The initial ones that he will run through are FSL holders for the most part, and so you will know you will have a gold permit.
okay.
Okay, and you'll be given, and I understand they're handing out a booklet that'll have all your parking permits as part of that booklet, so it'll all be there. Then you've got your green level, which is your next donor level, and again, you're coming in the same entrances, but now you're parking in CRI 2 and 3, the flat lots that are just above Duke and Grigg by bioinformatics. Then you're looking at your black lots, which are your next donor level, and this is over here at the lot 18 and 19. Those are the surface lots directly in front of the student union by the union deck. And then we've got the yellow lots. Now these are the single game day purchases.
Right.
Either West Deck or, well, West Deck is actually going to be purple now. We've changed it to avoid confusion. But the Union Deck and the West Deck will be single game purchases. You'll go online, you'll purchase your parking permit, print it up. You'll come in the entrances shown here, either from Mary Alexander Church or from Cameron or Toby Creek.
So
and
a
you'll come
single
down
game day, those don't have anything to do with, whether I've paid more or.
You don't, that's not,
No FSL
no
involved.
FSL is not necessary.
And we can't tell you, we don't know how they're going to handle single game day tickets at this point, but when they do, when you do purchase it, you'll be able to go online and purchase a parking permit. We would encourage you to do that because it will put you in one of these lots, which will be convenient not only to the stadium, but convenient for getting in and off campus.
To see it that way and be reminded of where those lots are, even
Right.
for folks who want to purchase single game
Well,
tickets.
And that's now that's
That's not-
pre-purchased. That's pre-purchased single game day.
But that's not bad. I mean, that's a nice.
No, it's a nice location.
Stroll.
Now, and if you don't pre-purchase, and Gary might want to flip forward, if you don't pre-purchase, you're going to the cash lot's called center. So right there,
Cone Deck, all
Yeah.
of Cone Deck, both Cone Deck 1 and Cone Deck 2 will be game day cash only.
Okay.
So if you didn't go online and purchase and you just want to come and watch a game, you can pull in there and you can pay cash and
Right.
park.
But like any place where they're taking cash, you're going to pull in. There'll be a line. Someone's going to have to take cash. They're going to have to give change, and so that's not going to be nearly as efficient. If you've bought your permit in advance, you're going to come in and you'll come into that union lot, and they're going to look and see, oh, you've got the gold permit, and you just get a flag right in.
Well, actually, they'll be taking the permit. If
Well,
you
they'll be
pull in,
taking
they'll
a
take the
permit,
permit,
but-
you'll drive in and park.
Sure.
But
So-
you'll be able to go right in.
Yeah.
And you won't have to wait
There
for
won't be
anyone.
a holdup. At the cash tax, it just depends on whether you give me a $20 bill or a $50 bill, how long it's going to take me to process you through.
So giving you the 50 doesn't make it quicker, is that?
The next level, of course, is the red lot. That's over by Alumni Center. That's off of Toby Creek. That's down in here. Whoop, didn't mean to move that. Down in there. And it's a nice lot because you can actually get to the stadium by going down the Greenway. It's right off the Greenway. You can walk right down the Greenway right to the stadium.
Although not a huge lot. so-
No.
It's not a huge lot. It's being sold by donor level, I believe.
Yes.
So, and then of course the blue lots, again by donor level, those are the lots 7 and 7A, the two small lots, one by Memorial Hall, one directly behind Cone Deck. And again, you'll be coming in Toby Creek and Cameron Boulevard. The silver lots are the least expensive tailgating lots, and that's only lot 25. And we anticipate if we have any RVs or anything like that, that's where they'll be.
Sure.
And you'll come in Mary Alexander, come in from Mallard Creek Church into Mary Alexander, and then just up into lot 25. And this is the only lot we're asking residents to move from. We're going to ask them to park in North Deck on Friday night so that we have that lot available Saturday morning for game day.
Yeah, that's a good point. That in terms of resident students, that is the only lot that they'll be asked to move from, and we've got plenty of parking right now in the North Deck, so shouldn't really be a major problem.
All right.
And then the orange is the ADA parking. and there's tickets available for SSL holders, and I believe the team's parents and so on, coaches' parents, and they'll be parking in there. But that is our main ADA parking deck. It has a ADA accessible pathway from the lower level of the deck past the Epic building right up to the front of the stadium, gate 3.
And it's best if you purchase that in advance when at all possible, because then you'll have the pass, you'll be able to come in right away. If not, if you don't have a parking permit, again, you'll be directed probably to go to Cone, pay cash, and then you'll get redirected over to that lot. It's not really an easy way to deal with that. So for accessibility purposes, it really would be better to purchase your permit in advance and make everything easier.
Yeah, and for the ADA permits, we're going with the speed of trust. If you go online, you say, I've got an ADA permit, you can purchase the orange deck permit. It's just that when you get to the deck, if you don't have your ADA placard, you're not going to be allowed in.
Yeah, you'll need to have the permit for that lot,
Sure.
and you'll have to have the placard.
So that's, you know, when we're going to trust people to do it right.
Yep.
But if they don't, then we would just redirect them from there back to the cash deck, and that's where they'd have to park.
All right. Well,
And that's pretty much the plan.
that's good. And I will point out again that this afternoon on inside.uncc.edu, the Inside UNC Charlotte website, we will post this plan. We have a bulleted list of all the football parking designations. Maybe we can figure out a way to do a screen grab of this Google Earth map as well to put with that. But that information will be on Inside UNC Charlotte, and then in the next week or so we're going to have this special website developed where we'll start to collect all this detail, and we'll try to build out an FAQ section as we go along. And if any of you who are watching have questions that are still, you know, somewhere in your mind, you want to send those to us at Inside UNC Charlotte, please do that as well. Should also note that yes, the spring game is April 20th, the start of an annual tradition. But in advance of that, we're going to have a town hall meeting about football for campus, and I believe athletics is coordinating that. And why would we do that, you say? Is it just because of the April 20th game? Well, not exactly. We're coming to the end of the academic year, and there's this gap called summer that's in between roughly in the next few weeks and then the start of football. So we want to catch people before summer takes us over to really get everybody's mind around what this means and how, frankly, folks can help us with the questions they have. Come to that April 20th game, help us get a real good simulation going of what we're going to be working with, and continue to know that Keith and Gary are going to be open to suggestions and questions and ideas along the way.
Absolutely, and the town meeting is a good opportunity. We'll be presenting the plan in general, so it's a good chance to see all aspects of the plan at one time, but also to be able to ask questions. So yeah, we think we have done our homework, but there's always things that you miss. So, you know, we welcome feedback and questions.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us on this installment of the Live Wire on Inside UNC Charlotte, and thank you for putting us on your screens, and get back to lunch, and we'll be back with you next Thursday at noon right here. Thanks.
Thanks, Stephen.